Hi guys, it is your old curmudgeon of doom here on a cold freezing day in Austin, Texas. This is January 4th. This is my first rant of 2013 coming at you because there's some that my little pussy twin over there on Humpty Dumpty Tribe can't talk about because of the F word, and I don't know how you can have a rant called How to Fuck a Goat without using the F word. So this is just some crazy story which may or may not have something to do with the crash of civilization. You can decide for yourself. And so this is just a story that happened to me last night. Not that, guys, I didn't fuck a goat last night, all right? You know, don't jump to conclusions here. It ain't going to be that exciting. But I did go to a picking party over on my dear friend Washboard Judy, who I love dearly, the leader of the Jinx Street gang here in South Austin, Texas. And my buddy Jimmo was always warning me about going to these picking parties over there on Jinx Street, that maybe the people who hang around there are just a little bit low class. And well, I like hanging around low class people. I like mixing it up. Sometimes I prefer the low class people to the beautiful people. And so I get out there and pedal through the snow on my bicycle over there to Jinx Street, and it is a motley crew showing up there on this cold winter night in Washboard Judy's living room. First guy I meet, he's got this t-shirt on, which I kind of like. The t-shirt says, "If I gave a shit, you would be the person I give it to." And I don't know what this shirt means. Does he mean if I gave a shit about, for instance, climate change, global warming, overpopulation, the sixth extinction, chemtrails, whatever? Maybe is he saying if I gave a shit about any of that shit you talk about, I would gladly hand you my shit? Or maybe this guy was actually clued in, and he in his t-shirt was referring to the 99% of the planet who gives a shit about Justin Bieber's latest music video on YouTube. And he was saying if I gave a shit about Justin Bieber, that the 99% of the population on this planet. Anyway, I didn't have much time to figure out what the hell this guy's give a shit t-shirt means, because my attention was diverted by this attractive blonde. I've seen her a couple of times, and she seemed to be standing there without much to do. So I can't remember who engaged whom in conversation. But somehow, guys, I can't even remember how I was pretty high. I can't remember how the conversation went, but there was something about, it started off with, I called a guy named Jimbo, not Jimmo, Jimbo. There's a big difference. Was in the conversation at this point, and something came up about standing too close to a horse's ass, meaning a literal horse's rear end. Not a horse's ass like me, literally a horse's rear end. And I said something like, well, if you stand too close to a horse's ass, you're going to get the shit kicked out of you. And then this attractive blonde, whose name I won't reveal here, she says, she pops out of nowhere, well, usually when a man is standing that close to a horse's ass, he's intending to fuck it. Meaning the man's intending to fuck the horse. And suddenly the whole level of the conversation changed. That even perked Jimbo up out of his stoner reverie. And so she proceeded to tell us about her boss who used to fuck horses. And that apparently he used to brag about this with his employees, about how he used to fuck horses. And then I guess since this was the only place that she could find a segue into her next level of conversation. I mean, where can a conversation go from her boss fucking horses? She says, kind of out of the blue, the segue wasn't a real smooth one, wasn't a real smooth transition in conversation. She looks at me and says, now you got to understand, guys, this is a woman that I have known for about 5 minutes in my life, okay? This is the level of intimacy I have established. This is woman. She looks at me and she goes, do you know how to fuck a goat? Well, you know, guys, I'm 53 years old. I have never had the question to me posed, do you know how to fuck a goat? But somehow I got the idea. I was getting ready to learn, and I'm thinking to myself, well, you know, as I told her, I said, well, I guess it's somewhat similar to fucking a human. It's been so long since I've even fucked a human, I've forgotten how to do that. But going through my dim memory banks, you know, I said, well, I guess it's, you know, it works the same with a goat as it does with a woman, that, you know, candy's dandy, but liquor's quicker. And she brushed that comment aside, and she proceeded to explain to me how to fuck a goat. And apparently what you do is you have to build a chute. This is C-H-U-T-E, where you, and you know, she kind of demonstrated this with her own body, that you need to build it's something that grabs the goat's little horned head, and I guess immobilizes the whole front of its body with something that literally is kind of like these old stocks from the Pilgrim days, where they used to put people in the, you know, to immobilize the front part of the body. Now, I've had some experience in castrating young bulls in cattle chutes. So I was somewhat familiar. That's a whole nother story I'll tell someday about my day spent castrating. So I kind of understood what she was talking about, immobilizing the front of the goat in the chute. And now she didn't go into much further explanation, and I was not egging her on. Okay, Jimbo even had walked away from this conversation and abandoned me to this woman teaching me how to fuck a goat. And then she proceeds to inform me, my daddy used to fuck goats, and it pissed me off. And I said, well, I don't know what kind of comment that makes about your mama. If your daddy was fucking goats, I mean, these TMI alerts were going off all over the living room. And guys, it wasn't a particularly highbrow crowd I was around, but they were drifting off at this point. And so she proceeds to tell me about her daddy fucking these goats, and she goes, I got so mad at my daddy one day. She goes, I just called the cops on him. I said, you called the cops on your father for fucking a goat? And she goes, yeah. She goes, I just picked up the phone and called 911. And I said, my daddy's out there in the chute fucking those goats, and you need to send a cop over here and put a stop to this. I said, well, what the hell did they say? And well, guys, I know you're going to find this hard to believe. Apparently, the 911 respondent on the other end of the line thought it was a crank call. And actually threatened to bust her for making a crank call to 911, I guess, that you can actually get fined several $100s. And the upshot of it is that they refused to send the police out on this 911 emergency call about her daddy out there in the chute fucking the goats. Now, I don't know where this man's wife, the mother of this young woman, was, while her father was out fucking the goats in the chute. I didn't spend any time asking questions. I'm just thinking to myself, I mean, this is a real Jeff Foxworthy moment. Like, Hambone, if you're invited to a social gathering, to a friend's living room, and you go over there and you are hearing this kind of story about how to fuck a goat, you just might be a redneck. So I want to make it clear for anyone confusing this long hair with some goddamn hippie. I want to make it clear that I am indeed a redneck, and that my long hair don't cover up my redneck. But just so you guys understand, Hambone Littletail has not ever fucked a goat. Okay? I guess I could figure it out how to do it, and particularly now that I've had some lessons. But the fact is, I'm just too damn lazy to get out there and get some of this flotsam and jetsam from the salvage economy here at Jimmo's. And we got 3 of these adorable little female goats about 100 feet away from me, and I hadn't been laid in 3 years. But Jimmo has no need to worry, and this young lady doesn't need to be calling 911 that old Hambone Littletail's out fucking a goat in the chute. I don't even know why I bothered telling this story. I just thought it was a humorous story, and I couldn't put it on Humpty Dumpty Tribe, so I'm going to put it here, and I guess that's the end of my story. For what it's worth, I hope you enjoyed my first round of 2013. Bye, guys.